Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO 44 coming at you in another video. All right, so I'm fresh off some homework on two players, just two, Terrence Shannon and Kaishawn George. And I'll give you what I saw from Kaishawn George. Both of these guys are probably going to be going near the second half of the first round, potentially, or early second round. And then we'll get into all of that, but first of all, fresh off Kaishawn George highlights. I'm going to start with the con. The main con is that he doesn't have a whole lot of explosiveness as of right now. If you want him driving at the rim, he's 6'8", with long arms, but very below average explosiveness. He's getting packed at the rim. He's got to put on a lot of lower body strength, and even when he does, he's not going to be a very explosive guy. Think like D'Lo. You know how D'Lo is, but taller. But the thing about D'Lo is he connects on a lot of his layups and stuff like that, so he makes up for the lack of explosiveness with extreme efficiency. So he's actually a fantastic finisher. But as it pertains to explosiveness, what you would expect from somebody who's 6'8" with the length that he has, it's not there. However, he's really good shooting the ball, man. This is a shooter's shooter. He can light it up. The comparison that I have for you, because of his playmaking ability as well, which he's a really good playmaker who can make passes left and right and really get guys involved, is Turkoglu. That's who comes to mind. Hedo Turkoglu. Now, obviously, they don't look nothing alike, but I think of Turkoglu, I think of a guy who didn't have a whole lot of explosiveness in the paint, although he did have some two-hand jams that stick out in mind. But he made his money around the perimeter in the mid-range, and he got other guys involved and tried to rebound the ball with his height and size. So that's the player comp that comes to mind when I think of guys that didn't have a massive amount of explosiveness, but was still a high-impact shooter and ultimately a fantastic playmaker as well. That's who comes to mind. Kaishawn George. I really like the player, man. I really like the player. I don't know if he's right for situations where you need explosiveness or you have a bunch of shooting already in place. I would like him to be on a team that's lacking in shooting, so he could be the floor spacer. A team that already has a bunch of power dunkers and stuff like that. Inside presence, already has a guy that puts pressure on the rim but needs floor space. And I think of a team like Detroit. He would be good in Orlando, even though I think they kind of drafted a player who's similar to him last year with Jet Howard. So I don't know if that's the greatest fit. But just in terms of teams that could use what he does, I think of teams that already have a whole lot of athleticism but need to help themselves from behind the arc with the spacing and scoring. The Lakers, I think, is a good team for Kaishawn George as well. I don't know that I take him at 17 per se, but he's in that range. But I just think he's one of the most reliable shooters that I've seen in this draft. There's a lot of guys that they say can shoot, who you're going to have to work with them to kind of get their percentage up. This dude he don't have that problem. He's good from the line, and he's good from behind the arc. And the shot is pure, man. It's just one of the most pure three-point shots in this entire draft. So that's why I like Kaishawn George. Understanding his limitations, he doesn't have star upside, but is a nice role player who can definitely stretch the floor and make plays for other people. Kaishawn George is your guy. And Terrence Shannon, before we get into anything about Terrence Shannon, he is up for some legal stuff, man. Coming up on June 10th, he has a trial, R-word related, definitely bad. So I think there's a damn good chance he falls out of the first round, maybe goes undrafted. But his talent level as a 4-year guy, I don't remember exactly how tall he is, but I think he's around 6'6", 6'7", I think, or something like that. But he's fast, man. I watched 2 videos on him, one from last year, which profiled him as a three-point shooter who needed to work on his shot, a guy who ran the floor hard but needed to work on his handle. And then I saw something that fast-forwarded to this year, a different video, where they kind of caught up, and he's turned into this explosive, hard floor running open court player. So his growth as a 4-year guy from year 3 to 3 or 4 has been pretty substantial. His three-point shot is available to you, probably around 37% from what I understand. It looks like a nice shot. I don't think he's as good as Shannon George, but I can't rely upon him to be a floor spacer. But where he really makes his money is speed in the open court, man. Speed in the open court. So if you're a team that lacks fast break points and could use a wing that runs fast and hard, Terrence Shannon is somebody you need to add to your situation. He's faster as hell, man. Honestly, I would love to see him in that pacer rotation since they play at such a fast-paced speed. I would love to see him on that Houston team where they play at a high pace. They're not lacking in that, but he would complement it well. You know what I mean? So I think either would work for him. If they have an abundance of that, he would add to it. If you have none of that, he would be the difference maker. So I really like Terrence Shannon as it pertains to just somebody who's going to power run with a lot of speed, get to the line, get to the rim, particularly in the open court off of transition defensive plays. If you get a steal, get the ball to him, and he's gonna speed past everybody, man. He runs not only fast but hard. It's like he's holding the turbo button every time there's a fast break. It's mildly ridiculous how hard he runs, and he's coming with a lot of power. So what's going to be the key for him is to play under control. In the older video that I watched, he had some handle issues, as we mentioned, where he was just completely out of control. Some Julius Randle bull in the China shop type stuff going on down there. But I think he's kind of tightened that up in year 4 out of Illinois. And boy, some of the highlights I saw in the later video kind of basically showed me he had cleaned that up and has gotten significantly stronger. So that's what I see there as a really well-conditioned athlete that runs the floor extremely hard, is capable of stretching the floor, capable of making plays for others. But at this point, it's going to make his money in transition. And boy, is he explosive in transition. Absolutely and utterly explosive. So that's what I wanted to say, man. Terrence Shannon, I don't know that the Lakers would be willing to take him because of his issues. But it seems like a lot of mock drafts are taking him somewhere around 19, somewhere in that range, anywhere from 19 to like 30, he could go. And I do think that if his illegal troubles clear up, that will help a lot. But it seems like his trial is going to be just like a week and a half or 2 before the draft. So I don't know how that's going to affect how people look at him. But as of right now, it looks like he is going to get drafted and probably a first-round guy. So I just want to come here and give you 2 names, man. I did homework on a few other guys as well. I was watching a little bit of Tyler Kolek, but decided to cut that video off and just tell you about 2 guys to keep it rather simple for myself tonight. But there's a lot of homework to do, man. A whole lot of homework to do. There are other players for me to catch up on, but I really like those 2 wings, small forward type dudes. And I think, it's important to say that I think both of them are pretty good defensively. If I'm not mistaken, Terrence Shannon does play very good defense, so he can help ignite that fast break. Shannon George, I honestly don't remember what they said about him defensively. I'm not really sure, but the explosiveness is lacking, but the three-point shooting is his moneymaker. He can stretch the floor, and that shot is pure. So that's pretty much what I got to say, man. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.